Hello, my name is Brian Sitch and I'm Curator of Archaeology at Manchester Museum. I'm here in Stoupa, a small resort in southern Peloponnese in Greece, and I'm with Mary Cole of Dufexis Travel and Dimitri Harahoulias, who runs a small diving school here in Calogri, near Stoupa. And I'm here on holiday with my wife, Christine, and at the welcome party a week ago, Mary was telling the guests about the sources of water here in Stoupa. Mary, I think one of the things I remember very clearly from what you told us was that tourists here in Stoupa don't have to buy bottled water. This is very unusual in Greece. Why not?
Well, the reason is because behind us we have the beautiful Taygetus Mountains. During the winter months we have a lot of rain here in Stoupa, as is a lot of Greece, and on the mountains this falls as snow. Usually about March, April the snow starts to melt and it brings beautiful spring water down here into the village, natural springs. These springs are then tapped, and there's taps all around the village with little signs saying drinking water. So we say to guests, buy a couple of bottles, fill up your bottles first thing in the morning, pop it in the fridge, and you have beautiful drinking water.
And I believe there's something unusual that you can see in the bay as well.
Right, and fortunately we have lovely spring drinking water, but these springs do come up in the middle of the sea. And so therefore you can be swimming along, and they're almost like a whirlpool, but it's not a whirlpool as such. The water is coming up from the seabed. So you're swimming along, and all of a sudden you go, oh, cold, cold, cold. It's a cold spring.
Wonderful.
Right out in the bay, between the bays of Stoupa and Calogria, we have this enormous spring. It's absolutely massive. And in the summer months, people can take a pedalo out from one beach to the other, and take a pedalo out and feel the water, and it's extremely cold.
It's one of the local attractions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dimitri, if I can bring you in on this conversation now, I understand from what Mary said last week that you've perhaps explored the springs in more detail, perhaps than anyone else in Stoupa. Can you tell us about what you did and how you studied the springs?
I'm considering myself being very lucky. I've seen the spring all times of through the year. In winter when it's really furious and brings thousands of cubic meters per minute, and when it slows down in October, and when it stopped a couple of years ago and we could see the actual exit of the water. It's an underwater spring that comes out of 24 meters in a lovely crater, and it shoots the fresh water all the way up to the surface. I've explored it the last 25 years through several programs of research, and the most recent and the most organized one was under the authorization of the local municipality, under the scientific direction of the Hellenic Center of Marine Research. That was a very useful experience for me.
And you did this entirely underwater?
Yeah.
So when you dive down from the surface of the sea, you can see the whirlpool, and then you follow the water down to an exit, presumably on the seabed.
Exactly, and then you, if you can imagine that, it's like being like being next to a river in the sea. There is a sweet water, cold water, fresh water, drinkable drinking water shooting out in the middle of the sea.
And does it affect the visibility?
Yes, it does.
The divers?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Does it make the visibility cloudy?
It makes, because the drinking water, the fresh water, is different than seawater.
It's a different density.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you see there's a wall created there. You can see very clearly the separation between the. And then the closer you get to the surface, the more cloudy it gets, or
as it mixes with the
Exactly.
seawater. Okay.
But
And,
it's a fantastic phenomenon to sit under the water.
and were you able to go into the source of the channel
No
of the
way,
spring?
no way.
That would be too dangerous, presumably.
It's not dangerous. It's impossible, because the power of the water,
The flow.
the power of the flow is so big that you cannot really go against it.
It's pushing you back.
It's pushing you back. You experience a free flow, what we call a free flow in a regulator, because of the difference of the pressure, and it's a fantastic feeling. It's a fantastic feeling.
When you're in the sea, when you're under the water, do you see marine creatures in there that perhaps
Yes,
have a different kind of relationship because the seawater is not quite so salty? Do you see different species?
Actually, the area of the spring is not cannot be fished. There's no fishing activities taking place over there because it's not possible for any fishing equipment to get to this area. It will be pushed and
I see.
away. So I think fish can feel more secure. Plus, they can get more food because there's a lot of sand getting stirred up and mixed up
I see.
while it's in the flow of the sweet water.
So it's actually quite a good place to be in the sea if you're a fish, because
yes.
nobody's going to fish for you.
If you're a diver, if you're a geologist, marine biologist. Well, I have experienced actually 1 month, a bit more than a month, that the spring stopped. There was an earthquake somewhere in the area, and something must have happened under the ground that blocked the exit of the water. So we could actually see the exit as it was.
And how big is it? Is it like
It's
a
only
cave entrance?
It's a couple of square meters. It's no more than fathom width and length.
We've looked down from some of the tavernas on the other side of the bay, and we counted, I think, 4 or 5 springs.
Yeah.
Is that
There's
about
actually
average
more.
for this time
There's
of
actually
year?
more. I think the area of Stoupa is. I think we are sitting on a river. We're sitting on an underground river, and all the exits of this river are between Calogria, Stoupa, and a bit further out. But there's more than, I would say there's about 7 or 8,
Okay.
even 10 occasionally, because in the winter we get a bit more.
And all this water is water ultimately
All this
that fell
water
on the
comes from
mountaintops.
Taygetus. Yeah, the geologists, they've checked and they used natural coloring material, and all this water comes from Taygetus mountain.
That's fascinating.
It's lovely. We're
Thank
lucky.
you so much to you both
Thank
for
you.
speaking
No
to
problem.
me
No
this
problem.
evening. It's been absolutely fascinating. I must admit, when I came out to Stoupa on holiday, I really didn't think that I'd have the opportunity to record an interesting interview for Manchester Museum's thematic collecting water topic, and I'm really grateful to you both for sparing the time to talk to me this evening. I know the tourist season is just beginning, and it's going to be a very busy time for you, I know, over the next few months. So thank you for sparing the time to talk to us.
Not a problem.
Thank
Not a
you.
problem. Thank
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Εμείς ευχαριστούμε.